Some men don't actually want to win. They just can't accept losing. Or more precisely, they can't accept being irrelevant. Those two things sound alike, but they're worlds apart. A man who wants to win, when he wins, he's happy. A man who can't accept being irrelevant, even when he wins, he's already preparing for the next battle he absolutely cannot lose. And Achilles was exactly that kind of hero. To understand Achilles, you first need to know where he came from. Achilles was a demigod. His father, Peleus, was a grandson of Zeus, king of Thessaly, and the groom at that fateful wedding we talked about in the Golden Apple episode. His mother, Thetis, was a goddess of the sea. Imagine being born carrying the blood of both God and man. From the very beginning, he knew, I am not ordinary. But his mother, Thetis, held a secret in her heart. She knew her son's fate had two paths. If he went to Troy, a short life but eternal glory. If he stayed away from Troy, an ordinary life, a long one, and in the end, forgotten by the world. This is the core of Achilles' problem. Achilles didn't have to choose between life and death. He had to choose between being remembered and being forgotten. Do you think living longer was obviously the better choice? Achilles didn't just want to live, he wanted to be remembered forever. Those two things are fundamentally different. What is this fear of being forgotten kind of glory? The most direct way to say it, it's using other people's gaze as proof of your own existence. Whether you exist isn't something you decide for yourself. It's whether other people recognize you. That is incredibly dangerous, because when your existence is built on other people's eyes, you begin to compare always, never finding peace, constantly scanning whose likes, whose followers, whose numbers are higher. If you lose, it means I don't matter. I can't lose, because showing weakness means I have no right to stand here. This drive, never losing, never admitting defeat, was buried deep inside Achilles. But this isn't just a problem for heroes 3,000 years ago. Have you ever known a man who seemed to be in a constant competition with everyone else? Cars, wife, kids, title, money. Or maybe you yourself have had a moment where you caught yourself comparing, and when you came up short, something inside you ached. That ache, it's not just about losing. It's because in that moment you questioned, if I can't even win at this, what am I? What do I amount to? That is the curse of glory born from the fear of being forgotten. There's a concept in psychology called social comparison theory. In 1954, psychologist Leon Festinger said, "Human beings have a built-in instinct to evaluate their own worth by comparing themselves to others." In ancient times, this was probably useful. Who is the strongest in the tribe? Who hunts best? Who is worth following? Those comparisons help tribes survive. But 3,000 years later, that instinct hasn't gone anywhere. It's just that the tribe has become social media. You open Instagram, you open Threads, you see someone else's vacation, someone else's house, someone else's achievements, someone else's life, and it seems like everyone is living more brilliantly than you. You open Facebook, you open YouTube, you see people your age, getting promoted, starting companies, hitting IPOs, reaching financial freedom. Festinger said, when you realize you're falling behind, there are two paths. 1, I'll work harder and get stronger. 2, I'll find a way to tear them down. So some people grind and some people destroy. Either way, it's the same underlying thing. I cannot accept that I don't matter enough. Achilles didn't scroll Instagram, but buried in his soul was the exact same question. In the Trojan War, Achilles was the greatest warrior on the Greek side. No one ran faster, No one fought harder, no one shone brighter. But the supreme commander of the Greek forces, Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, came into conflict with Achilles over one thing. Agamemnon took away Achilles' war prize, a woman named Briseis. Some say Achilles raged out of love. Some say he raged out of pride. But I think Achilles' rage went even deeper than that. Because what Agamemnon took wasn't just a woman. He was making a declaration. Here, I am the one who matters most. Achilles could not accept that. So Achilles did something that shocked everyone. He quit. Without Achilles on the battlefield, the Trojan hero Hector moved through the Greek ranks like a force of nature. The Greeks fell back, suffering tremendous losses. Achilles' closest companion, Patroclus, could bear it no longer. He put on Achilles' armor, disguised himself as Achilles, and went to the battlefield. He wanted the Trojans to think Achilles had returned. But Patroclus was not Achilles. He was killed by Hector. In that instant, every ounce of Achilles' rage shifted from Agamemnon directly onto Hector. Achilles returned. His fury burned everything in its path. He killed Hector. He dragged Hector's body behind his chariot around the walls of Troy 3 times. And then, his best friend, Patroclus, was still dead. Achilles stood on that battlefield. He had won, but there was no joy. Because the greatest tragedy of Achilles was not dying young. It was this: he didn't know who he was without glory. When glory was stripped away, he walked off the field. When glory was humiliated, he raged. When the person he loved most died, he took revenge. Every single time, his response was about glory, about other people's eyes. He never once asked himself, "Who am I? If I am not a hero, who am I?" This isn't just a story from 3,000 years ago. This is a story that plays out every single day. How many men pour their entire sense of self into their title, their salary, their achievements? And then one day, the title disappears. The company collapses. The achievement gets eclipsed by someone else, and they realize they no longer know who they are. Self-help culture tells you, work hard and you'll win. Social media tells you, make yourself visible. Your parents may have told you, make something of yourself. Each of those pieces of advice has its own truth, but sometimes they all point to the same thing. Your worth comes from the outside. Your worth is decided by others. Achilles accepted that framework. He embraced it. He spent his entire life chasing a glory defined by others. In the end, he was struck by an arrow from Paris through his ankle and died at Troy. That vulnerability was created by his mother, Thetis, when she tried to protect him as an infant, dipping him in the river Styx, but holding him by the ankle, which never touched the water. That weakness was there from the moment he was born. No matter how brave, no matter how glorious, that weakness never disappeared. And every one of us has an ankle of our own. Sometimes a person pushes forward relentlessly, not because they truly know where they're going, but because the moment they stop, they start to wonder, if no one remembers me, do I even exist? Achilles chose glory, chose to be remembered forever. 3,000 years later, we still remember him. But, Smalling, if he had chosen a long life, an ordinary life, might he have found another way to live? We don't know, because he never took that road. In the underworld, in the Odyssey, Achilles says to Odysseus, "I would rather be a hired hand on earth, working for the poorest farmer, than rule over all the dead." What a tragedy that he only said it after he was gone. That was a man, at the end of his life, finally being honest about one thing. He just wanted to simply live. but the roar of glory on the battlefield was louder than life itself, loud enough to drown out his own voice. Let me ask you, is what you're working so hard for truly what you want, or are you just afraid of not mattering? Before you answer, ask yourself this first. If tomorrow no one could ever see what you did today, would you still do it? Woo Talks World. See you next time.